And so we'll start seated, and you can sit up on a pillow or a blanket if you'd like, if you're at home. And take a moment to ground yourself here so you can rock side to side or forward and back. Just get acclimated to being on your mat and sitting up tall. And then find a point of stillness where you're pressing down into all four corners of your seat. And then roll your shoulders up by your ears and down your spine. And as you pull your heart forward, draw your shoulder blades back. And soften your gaze or close your eyes. And take a few moments to listen to the sound of your own breath. Echoing throughout the insides of your body. Continue to soften through your chest and belly. Relax the top of your shoulders and allow that softness to travel down towards your elbows and wrists. And we'll be here for about 3 or so rounds of breath in stillness, just breathing. Okay. And so I'd like you can blink open your eyes just to watch, and then I'll cue you to close them. You're going to take your hands to fists on either side of your rib cage. And so as opposed to having them on your waist, I want you to have them all the way up towards your rib cage and then widen your elbows away. And then sit up tall. And then from here, you can soften your gaze or close your eyes. Keep pressing your knuckles into your rib cage. Keep softening the tops of your shoulders away from your earlobes. Okay, so now let's breathe. As you inhale, I'd like you to press your rib cage into your fists. Fill your body with air. And then exhale, soften everything inwards. So do this a couple of times, deliberately pressing and inflating your body with breath. And exhale, soften everything towards the midline. You'll do this 3 more times, just breathing. And while you imagine that your whole rib cage were inflating like a balloon, continue to move your rib cage away from your lungs and diaphragm to create space. And soften your hands into your lap and just pause for a moment. Blink open your eyes and lean back. And then you're going to swing. I'm going to mirror you here. So just swing your left leg out. You're going to come into this deer-like shape of your legs, almost like a zigzag pattern. So you're going to face your right knee initially. And start to frame your right knee so you can sit up tall. And then see if you can press your left hip down. It's gonna hike up a little bit. Just make sure that you're not too high up. So a little bit of firm pressure down while you sit up tall. And then keep going, keep twisting towards your right. Press your right foot against the top of your left thigh as you twist from your low belly. And create length in your spine. And you can stay upright or just slowly start to walk your hands away from you. You can stay tented on your finger pads or soften your palms and forearms down into a deer-like shape. We'll hold for just a few rounds of breath. Start to open up through your left hip. Some of the shapes that we're going to move through today can be a little bit intense, which is why we started off with that breath work to cue our body to fill up. Start to walk your hands towards you and then turn forward. Okay, so from here, you're going to lean back and you're going to straighten both of your legs. Okay, and so see if you can create a 90-degree angle shape of your legs. And so from here, it's very important that you flex both of your feet and see if your right leg can face forward and your left leg out to the side. Okay, sit up tall. And then now we're going to start to turn towards our right. So you can watch me before you move. Some of us have done this before. So just watch my feet. I'm going to start to rotate my torso towards the right. Notice what happens to my feet. My feet will start to lower, but they're still flexed. And I'm going to twist from my low belly. Stay tented on your finger pads, and then just start to walk your hands away from you. You can even roll on towards your your right hip slightly. And imagine that you were pressing both of your feet against a wall. That's how much you're flexing them. Great. Walk your hands towards you, starting to warm up the IT band. Okay, and so from here, take your left ankle and then just bend the knee and place your left foot against the inside of your right thigh. A lot of switching here. Slide your right hand down your leg. Turn your torso to the left and then sweep your arm up and overhead. And just take a side bend. Continue to open up through the left hip. Lean your head back slightly. One more inhale here. And then exhale, just soften the palm down. Okay, so you're gonna take your left knee, you can lift it up, and you're gonna cross your left knee over your right knee. It's gonna look like this from the side view. So hug your inner thighs and knees towards one another and sit up tall for an Ardha Gomokasan, almost like a half cow face shape. And now start to walk your hands towards your right toes. You might feel like your rib cage were nestling along the inside of your thigh, and that's okay. And keep flexing through your right foot as strongly as you can. And slowly walk your hands towards you. Roll up your spine. Okay. Scoop underneath your left knee. Pick up your knee so you can plant your left foot across your right leg. And then just sort of wrap your right arm around, and we'll come up for a seated spinal twist, tenting the fingertips behind you. Sit up tall, and then twist. Look past your left shoulder. Take another full round of breath here. And gaze forward. All right, so your left knee is already bent. So just start to swing your right heel, and we'll come into that deer shape on the left. And so sit up tall and start to frame your left knee. Right hip stays anchored down as much as you can. And then just keep going, keep twisting towards the left. Twist from your low belly first. Feel like you were rinsing out your lower digestive system. And then maybe walk your hands out away from you. Take a few slow breaths here. Okay. Walk yourself up. Lean back and straighten your legs. And this time your left leg will be in front. Flex both of your feet. Legs about at a 90-degree angle. And then just start to turn over towards the left. And then feet will fall. And then walk yourself, maybe rolling onto your left hip slightly. Keep twisting from your low belly, flexing your feet. Imagine you're pressing against a wall. Walk yourself up. Okay. And this time your right knee will bend. Place the sole of your right foot against your inner left thigh. Left hand slides down and then sweep your right arm up and overhead. Take a side bend. Breathe into the outside of your hips. Lean back slightly as you gaze up. Great. Come up. And we'll come into that Ardha Gomokasan shape. So pick up your right knee and then cross your right knee over your left. And we'll have an opportunity to come into the full expression of this shape. So let's all just keep our bottom leg straight. Hug your inner thighs and knees together. And now walk your hands towards your left foot. Keep flexing through the left foot. Pull your toes towards you. And then crawl your hands towards you. Roll up. And we'll come into a seated spinal twist. Scoop underneath your right knee. Wrap your left arm around and then twist. Roll the right shoulder back and gaze behind you. And then gaze forward. Uncross your legs. Let's give our legs just a little bit of a shake. Tap the backs of your knees against your mat. And then we'll all meet in a tabletop position. And so you can use your blanket to pad your knees if you like. Come into tabletop. And so as you get situated in tabletop, make sure that your fingers are spread wide. Press the heels of your hands down. Spread through your fingers. Thigh bones perpendicular to the earth. And let's just move through a few rounds of a traditional cat-cow. Keep your toes tucked. And as you inhale, lift and spread your sitting bones. Soften your belly and pull your heart forward. Gaze forward. And then exhale, draw your navel in, round your spine and gaze behind you. And keep going like this, just warming up our spine. This motion that you do often and your body knows well. And as we move through our flow this morning, there are going to be some shapes that might be a little bit confusing or not as traditional. And I want you to keep in mind that it's less important about the way the shape looks and more important that you are moving based on sensation. So try to trust yourself that you're doing it correctly. Okay. So from here, come into a neutral tabletop position. I'd like you to bring your knees and toes a little bit closer to one another. Okay, so a narrower stance. And so those of you at home, make sure that you have enough space to your right and your left because we're going to be spinning your legs out a little bit. Start by extending your right leg out for a half spinal balance and keep the ball of your right foot on the earth. Keep pressing down into your palms, puff up your upper back. So now from here, you're going to take your right foot and you're going to spin it to the back left corner of your mat. So I'll say that again, right foot, back left corner of your mat space. Okay. So it's a little bit at a diagonal. So now from here, keep pressing the ball of your right foot down and now start to gaze towards your left shoulder and then back. Look at your right heel. And this simple action of looking behind you will start to open up through the hip and the IT band in a subtle way. Make sure that your knees are padded if you need to. And take another slow breath here. You're doing great. Okay, so now start to gaze forward. Take your right foot back and then keep going. Keep spinning it all the way to the right until your whole foot is planted down. Toes are pointing in the same direction as your gaze. Walk your hands forward one handprint and then press your seat back towards your left heel. Gaze in between your thumbs. Inhale, glide forward. And then exhale, press back. Do 2 more like this. Inhale, waking up the backs of our legs, the insides of our thighs. And after this pulsation, I'd like you to hold. Almost like you were coming into a child's pose, but your legs got stuck in gait. Pause and breathe here. Okay. And shift forward till your hips are over your left knee. Walk your hands towards you and then come all the way up. So now you're in gait. And so from here, slide your right hand down and then sweep your left arm up and overhead. Take a side bend. A little bit of a relief. Lean back slightly, gaze underneath your upper arm. Okay, and come up. So let's do a pulsation. Look at your right foot. Lift up your right toes so that you're on your right heel now. Point or flex your feet so that your toes are pointing directly up. And make sure that you have enough space. So you might want to move over a little bit. And so from here, see if you can bend your right knee until your right foot will plant. And then press into your right foot and then straighten the leg. Yeah. And so do this a couple of times. Your arms can just be wherever they are. You'll feel this along the back of your leg. This little pulsation. And do one more. Okay, and so now from here, gaze forward, and then just start to plant your hands down. Spin your toes forward, and now take your right foot and keep going. Keep inching it forward. Just let it wiggle along the ground. It's gonna feel a little bit weird. Wiggling it forward so it's on the outside of your hands. Left toes stay tucked. You may wanna walk your hands forward slightly, bend into your right knee and gaze forward. Just pause and breathe here in this low crescent moon shape. And so now press into your palms, start to walk your fingertips towards you. Lift up your right toes and straighten through your right leg. Pull your toes towards you, tailbone back and the crown of your head up. Heart forward. And just pause and breathe here into the back of your leg. If you want something a little bit more, you can always turn your right toes out about 20 degrees. And then stop when you start to feel a ton of sensation, more than you can bear. Great. Clench your palms and simply tuck your right knee underneath you. Sway your hips from side to side. So a lot of that sequence, again, it's less about what it looks like or the names of the shapes or doing it right. It's more trusting your body and then letting your body guide the depth of each shape. Come into that neutral tabletop position with your knees and toes slightly closer to one another. And let's do that whole thing on the other side. So slide your left toes back, keep the ball of your left foot down, and we'll do that same kind of low speed skater shape. So your left toes towards the back right corner of your mat. And then now just start to gaze past your right shoulder and towards your left heel. Just pause and breathe here. Great. Gaze forward. Slide your feet or your left foot back behind you and then keep swiveling it. So now your left foot is out to the side. Walk your hands forward about a handprint and then press your seat back. And then we'll do a few pulsations, gliding forward and then exhale, shift back. Do 2 more. Start to work the inside of your left thigh. And now let's hold. Imagining that you were just in a child's pose, but your leg is out. Back toes stay tucked. Shift forward. Keep your legs where they are and simply just roll all the way up. Okay, let's move into gate. And so start to slide your left hand down and sweep your right arm up and overhead. Breathe into the outside of your right side body, your rib cage. Gaze up. And slowly come up. Look at your left foot and pick up your toes. And we're gonna do that same pulsation. Just let your arms dangle. We're not focusing on the arms right now. Make sure that your left knee can bend, and bend it until maybe you can place the sole of your left foot down and then press into the ball of your foot and start to straighten it. Do this a couple of times. It's a little bit of a strengthener in the outside of your leg. Good. Turn your toes forward. Plant your hands down. And then from here, just start to scoot your left foot forward. Doesn't have to be graceful. Just let it inch its way forward until your left foot is in the outside of your hands. Start to bend into your left knee. Maybe your hands walk forward. And then just sink into this low crescent moon shape. Just pause and breathe here for a moment. Then press your hips back, straighten through the left leg, and pick up your toes. Toes pull towards you, left hip dials back, chin level with the earth. Breathe into the back of your left leg. And you can stay here, or you can spin your toes out until you feel more sensation than your body can bear. Toes up. And then just simply tuck your left knee underneath you. Sway your hips from side to side. Okay, let's release your hips a little bit before we come into our flow. Untuck your toes and bring your knees slightly wider towards the edge of your mat and sit back onto your heels. Walk your hands forward, but keep pressing your seat back. You're gonna keep your arms extended, so elevated elbows. Gaze in between your thumbs. As you inhale, press into your palms, start to shift forward, and then maybe stop here, or maybe keep going by picking up your toes towards you and sinking your pelvis down for a king cobra shape. And then exhale, sit back into a child's pose. So you choose the depth here. Just create this horizontal shift, and you can always just pause with your shoulders over your wrists. No need to go further. And then exhale, shift back. Let's do that 2 more times. And 1 more. And pause in a child's pose. You can soften your forearms and elbows down and rest here for about 3 rounds of breath. And so I'd like you to keep that speed skater shape in mind as we move through our flow. We will be doing some iterations of that. Continue to work through the outside of our hips and our legs. So take your time, press into your palms and shift forward. Adjust your knees underneath you and tuck your toes. Walk your hands out about a handprint. And then lift your hips up, downward facing dog. So in downward facing dog, keep your feet about hips width distance apart. Bend your knees and draw your belly to your upper thighs. Keep spreading your sitting bones, and now start to soften your heels while keeping your knees slightly bent. Externally rotate your upper arm so that your elbow creases face forward. Create length in your spine. Take another round or breath or 2 here in downward facing dog. On your next inhale, gaze forward. And then slowly step forward. Just take a stroll to the top of your mat space for a forward fold. Feet about hips width distance apart and bend your knees. And just allow yourself to hang forward here. We're going to come into an Uttanasana variation in a moment, but just allow yourself to be still. Breathe into the backs of your legs, that space where your glutes and hamstrings meet. So start to feel the ground underneath your feet. Bend your knees, draw your navel in, and then slowly take 2 to 3 rounds of breath to roll up. Once your spine is vertical, roll your shoulders back and the palms face forward. And so if you have a block, you might want to use it just to elevate the ground and for stability. You might not need it. Just make sure that at least one's handy. And so I'm going to be changing my stance, so facing forward and to the side so you can see me. Start by stepping your right foot over your left. Bend your knees so that you can plant both of your feet. And again, block underneath your hands or not. So the sensation you want to feel, so you're going to keep your knees pretty bent here. I want you to feel like you're pushing your butt back first with your knees bent. And then once you place your finger pads down, like there was a string tied to your tailbone, lift your sitting bones up. Okay, so butt back and then up. And that's how you're going to maximize that sensation in that space where glutes and hamstrings meet. And take another round of breath or two here. The first pass through, we're going to hold some of these shapes a little bit longer. Okay, and so start to bend your knees, gaze forward. Your left leg is in back. So I'd like you to slide. You're going to be on the pinky side edge of your left foot. Slide it back towards the back right corner of your mat space. It's going to look like this from the side. Okay, so you're in this high speed skater shape. Right knee bent, back leg straight. It's called speed skater for a reason. And now with your hands on a block or the earth, just gaze behind you, gaze past your right shoulder and towards your left foot. And again, if you look at your left foot, you're on the outside or pinky side edge of the left foot. And take another round of breath or two in this speed skater shape. Okay, so now start to gaze forward and you're gonna wiggle or just step your left foot back all the way. So you're coming into a low lunge position. Hands frame your right foot. From a low lunge, spin your back heel down so it's parallel to the back edge of your mat. So you're in this warrior two stance of your legs. Hands walk to the inside of your right foot, forward and to the top left corner. Press your butt back behind you and stretch forward by your fingernails. Down dog warrior two. And just imagine that the outside of your right rib cage and the inside of your right thigh were giving each other a hug. One more round of breath here. Walk your hands towards your right foot, gaze forward, press into your feet and open up to a warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior, tip back, sweep your right arm up and overhead. And as you exhale, slowly cartwheel your hands down, frame your right foot and pick up your back heel for a low lunge position. Inhale, left palm stays down, sweep your right arm up and overhead for revolved lunge. And then exhale, set the palm down, gaze forward and step forward. So step your left foot forward, take as many hops as you need to come to the top of your mat and shake out your legs. So that's the base of our sequence. We're going to do the same thing on the left and we'll hold this round just as we did with the right. So this time at the top of your mat, your right foot will come behind your left. So the left leg is in front. Keep your knees pretty bent and the same principles apply. And so with your knees pretty bent, feet planted, push your butt back first And then lift up your tailbone. Spread your sitting bones wide. So prioritize pressing your feet down, spreading your toes wide. And start to bend your knees, gaze forward. And now your right leg isn't back. So you're gonna come onto the outside edge of that foot and then slide it to the back corner of your mat. That's speed skater shape. Make sure you support yourself with a block if you need to, and then turn back, look past your left shoulder and towards your right foot. Keep your left knee bent and your right leg straight as you gaze behind you. And here's what I mean here in the speed skater shape. If you feel sensation along the outside of your left hip, then you're doing it perfectly fine. And then start to gaze forward and start to step your right foot back behind you for a low lunge position. And then swivel the back heel down. Hands along the inside of your left foot. Walk them forward and to the top right corner of your mat space. And push your butt back and stretch forward by your fingernails. They go in opposite directions. And breathe here in this down dog warrior 2. And walk your hands towards you. Press into your feet and open up to a warrior 2 shape. Inhale, reverse warrior, tip back. And exhale, cartwheel your hands down to frame your left foot. Pick up your right heel. Inhale, revolved lunge, raise your left arm up. And then exhale, set the palm down, gaze forward and step forward. And shake out your legs. Okay, so we're gonna add on to that sequence. And so trust yourself that you know the base of it. The whole thing is gonna be exactly the same to start. And so from a forward fold at the top of your mat, left foot crosses behind the right, and then just fold forward for 1 round of breath. A cross-legged Uttanasana. Bend your knees and start to slide your left foot back behind you towards the back right corner of your mat space. And then just simply gaze behind you. 1 round of breath. Gaze forward. Step your left foot back for a low lunge. Swivel your back heel down. Hands walk forward and to the top left corner. Down dog, warrior 2. 1 round of breath. Walk your hands towards you and press up to a warrior 2. Take your time, there's no rush. From here, now listen carefully. As you inhale, tip back, reverse warrior. And then as you exhale, stay and just press into your right foot. Start to straighten through the right leg. You're still gazing up and now you're in a reverse triangle shape. And as you exhale, start to reach forward with your right fingernails and then push your left hip back and then lightly place your right hand along your shin or thigh and then lift your left arm up directly above the shoulder. Roll the left shoulder back and gaze up towards your left thumb. You can always use a block underneath the right hand. When you place your hand on your shin, you are supporting yourself with your own strength, which is why I usually cue this shape in this way. On your next inhale, bend into your right knee, warrior 2, gaze forward. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Frame your right foot and pick up your left heel. Inhale, revolved lunge, right arm up. And exhale, both hands plant, step forward. And shake out your legs. Okay, left side. Right foot tucks underneath or behind the left. Knees bent and push your butt back and up. And just remember, this is all just a 1 breath flow. Bend your knees and slide your right foot back to the back left corner and then gaze behind you. Gaze forward, step back, low lunge. Swivel your back heel down and walk your hands to a down dog, warrior two. Then walk your hands up and press up to a warrior two. Inhale, tip back, reverse warrior. And stay for the exhale. Press into your left foot and straighten through the left leg. Inhale here. And then exhale, reach forward with the left fingernails. And then tip for Trikonasana, triangle pose. Left hand down and reach up by your right fingernails and then lean back. On your next inhale, come into a warrior two. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Frame your left foot and pick up your back heel. Inhale, raise your left arm up, revolved lunge. Exhale, step your hand down and then step forward, shake out your legs. We're gonna do one last pass through that sequence. We're gonna add and subtract a few shapes. And we're gonna skip the cross-legged Uttanasana, and we're actually just gonna come into a low lunge. Step your left foot back, and then swivel your back heel down and come into a down dog warrior two. One round of breath. Walk your hands towards you, and then come up to a warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Frame your right foot and pick up your back heel. And now if you have a blanket, it might be handy so that it can pad your left knee as it makes its descent down. And then from here, scoot your right foot out and wide towards the outside edge. Untuck your back toes. Glance at your right knee, make sure it's not going beyond the ankle. And then just stay here in this high dragon. So you've got options here. You can stay upright. You can make your descent down. If you have blocks, you can lower your forearms down. Maybe your palms touch. Maybe rolling onto the outside edge of your right foot, letting your knee kind of splay open and wide. And so I'm going to give you this option for a twisted lizard shape, which you can skip. You can come onto your palms, gaze forward. Take your right palm and place it on the top of your right thigh. Scoop your belly in, and then start to twist over to the right. You can roll onto the outside edge of your right foot if you like. And breathe here. And of course, this goes without saying, but if you feel any pain, please back out. Release your hands down and set your right foot in between your palms. Tuck your back toes and step forward. And shake out your legs. Okay. Let's do that little sequence on the other side. Right foot steps back, swivel the back heel, and then walk your hands forward into the top right corner. Down dog warrior two. Walk your hands towards you and press up to a warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. And exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Pick up your back heel. Inhale, revolve lunge, left arm raises up. And then exhale, set it down. Lower your right knee onto your mat or a blanket. And left foot scoots out to the left, and then untuck your back toes. Set your hands under your shoulders. Make sure that your left knee is not going beyond the ankle. And make your decision. You can stay or lower down onto your forearms. Perhaps they're propped up with blocks or a blanket or a pillow. Come up onto your palms. And here's an option, and of course, feel free to skip it for a twisted lizard. Left palm against the top of your thigh. Belly scoops in, and then twist. Twist to the left. And that scooping of the belly in just creates a little bit more space, a little bit more room to twist. Okay, and so from here, gaze forward, and then simply tuck your left knee underneath you. Come into a tabletop shape. And so because we've done so much for the hips and the legs, I'm gonna give you this opportunity to come into a pigeon shape. But if you prefer not to do pigeon, you can always do a supine figure 4. And so I'd like you to step your right knee forward towards your right wrist crease, and then swivel the heel out to the left. And then just start to wiggle your left knee back. Pad your back knee as you need to. Come up onto your finger pads. And this is if you're doing pigeon. So I'm going to give you an option to do this a little bit differently today. So now walk your hands towards the top left corner of your mat. So you're moving away from your right knee. And if you were to look down, you're looking at your right toes. So see if you can now walk your hands forward at a diagonal. You can soften your palms and maybe forearms come down. This might feel different than you traditionally do pigeon. And see what you think. This alternative. Just remember, one's not better than the other. They all target a different area of the body. Most of us, when we practice yoga, we do shapes in the same way every time. It's important to just change it up. Our bodies need that variety. And start to walk your hands towards you. And coming out of pigeon, the easiest way I find is just rolling onto the right hip and bringing your left knee forward, and then make your way into pigeon on the left, or supine figure 4. Left knee steps forward and just swivel the heel to the right, and then slowly make your way down. Support yourselves with props, and then walk your hands forward, but to the top right corner of your mat space. If you were to look down, you're looking at your left toes. And then make your descent. Some of us that practice yin together on Tuesdays have done this shape before, obviously more propped up because we hold it for longer. So you might be familiar with this difference in sensation. And slowly come up. Lean towards your left hip, and then just come to a seated position. Bring your legs out in front of you. And so we'll have an opportunity to come into a full cow face shape, a Gomokasan. And so lean back, and then you're gonna cross your right leg over your left. Swivel your heels out wide. Squeeze your inner thighs and knees together. Some of us will still do this Ardha Gomokasan shape if you feel like you're really crunched or you have any pain. And so sit up tall. So we're gonna come into a Gomokasan Twist. So you're gonna take your right hand, I'm mirroring you here, and you're gonna slide it towards your right ankle. See if you can grab a hold of the ankle or the shin, twisting to the left. That's the only direction your body's gonna be able to twist here. And then sweep your left arm back behind you, then up and overhead. Gaze forward, and your arms will make the letter X, and then reach for the outside of your left ankle. So your arms are crisscrossed. Release the bottom arm, twist to the right, and then sweep it up and overhead. And then now notice that as it sweeps forward, your arms are crisscrossed the opposite way. So now keep going. It's a little bit of coordination. You're always releasing the bottom arm and then sweeping it up and overhead. Hopefully you don't have something behind you like I do. And so you'll keep going until your right arm is the arm that's on top. Next time that happens, just pause. With your right arm on top, grab a hold of your shins or ankles and start to pull your chin forward. You're going to tilt forward. And then exhale, soften your chin towards the cross of your arms. Broaden through the back of your heart. And slowly release your ankles and shins. Uncross your legs, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So this time, the left leg on top. Hug your inner thighs and knees together. Make sure that you can feel your sitting bones underneath you. So we'll start with our left hand sliding down towards our ankle, and then sweeping the right arm up and overhead. And then exhale, create that X shape of your arms. Reach for the outside of your ankle or shin. Release the bottom arm, and then keep flowing. A little bit of twisting, creating some fluidity in our arm and shoulder joint. And you'll stop when your left arm is on top, whenever that happens. And once you create that letter X of your arms, pull your chin forward and then soften it down towards the cross of your upper arms. And release your ankles and lean back. Straighten both of your legs. Okay, one last upright shape. And so you've got a few options. You're going to keep your right leg straight and just watch before you move. You'll roll onto your your right hip, and you can either swing your heel back, hugging the inner thighs for an Ardha Virasana shape. If you're in this shape and you have any pain in your knee joint, I'd like you to come in to this half butterfly shape. Okay, so let's all come into whatever shape you're coming into. It doesn't really matter which is which. I always like to take advantage of coming into Virasana. It's really great to internally rotate the femur bone. Look at your right foot, flex your toes, and anchor your heel. That's going to be key. Take your hands and you're going to hook the thumbs. Spread your fingers wide. It's kind of like a butterfly shape. Reach your arms up and overhead. Press that into your sitting bones. Inhale here. And then as you exhale, start to tilt forward. Wave your arms forward and down. Press into your sitting bones. Lift up. You're going to feel this activation in the back of your legs. Exhale, wave yourself down. One more. Inhale. And now as you exhale, release the hook of your thumbs. Frame your right leg and fold forward. And take another round of breath here. And slowly come up. And if you're in Ardha Virasana, you can just lean to the right and extend your left leg. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. And so make your decision, keeping your left leg straight, coming into Ardha Virasana or Ardha Baddha Konasana. You don't have to do the same thing that you just did. Flex through your left toes. Come into that butterfly shape of your hands, hooking the thumbs and reaching your arms up and overhead. And we'll do 3 flowing rounds. Inhale here. And then exhale, wave yourself down. Try to avoid locking out the left knee joint. A slight bend of the left knee is preferred. Come up. Exhale, wave yourself down. One more. Inhale. And now exhale, allow yourself to fold. Unhook your elbow, or your thumbs rather. One more full round of breath here. And slowly come up. Lean over to the left and straighten both of your legs. Give them a little shake. And then you'll make your way onto your back. Make sure that you have enough space behind you as you lay all the way down. Once you're on your back, bring the soles of your feet together and your knees open wide for a supine butterfly shape. Supta Baddha Konasana. And even though we're not going to be here for too long, if you have props, you can always slide it underneath your knees. Take a few moments here, just breathing. Slide your hands to the outsides of your knees and close your knees together. And then draw your thighs in towards you. Wrap your arms around your shins and just take a really gentle rock from side to side. You can stay here. If you'd like to take one final shape, reach for the outsides of your feet for a happy baby. Flex your toes towards you and gather your knees in. You can do that same gentle rock if you'd like. Release the outsides of your feet and bring your knees together. And pause here, press your whole spine down. And start to bring the tip of your nose towards your kneecaps and curl in. Take a huge breath in here. And as you exhale, slowly release for Shavasana, your final shape of class. Extend your legs out. Allow your body to take up space. Arms can be by your sides with the palms up or down, or perhaps hands on top of your body. And relax the muscles in your face, your throat, your chest and belly. And allow your body just to breathe and soften here. And I'll call you back momentarily. And so you can keep your body relaxed and your eyes closed. Notice the surging flow of breath as it pours into your chest and belly. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretch your arms up and overhead. Gather your knees in towards your chest and roll to one side. Press your palms into the earth and come up to sitting. So we'll close with 3 rounds of breath, similar to how we began class. Take your hands to fists and place your fists on either side of your rib cage, keeping your shoulders soft. Take 3 rounds of breath on your own, pressing your rib cage into your fists and letting your body inflate. And after you've completed your 3 rounds, just carefully swivel your hands on top of your heart. And as we bow our head towards our heart, we honor one another. And when you're ready, lift your gaze. Thank you so much for practicing.